Well, hello, everybody. We have a great group to discuss a very important topic and topics in our community this morning. So we have with us, first of all, Julie Kirkpatrick, who's the CEO of meetNKY, our Northern Kentucky Convention and Visitors Bureau group. We have with us Tony Milburn, who's a local entrepreneur and developer. And we also have with us Shannon Smith, who is a City of Covington commissioner on the board of meetNKY, as well as a local attorney and developer and entrepreneur herself. So she has many, many roles as well. So thank you guys for your time this morning.
Thank you.
So we're going to jump right in. We've got so much to talk about. We sit here in the middle of November, and we were sitting in the middle of this pandemic. Unbelievable shutdown of a lot of the tourism business that would normally feed so much to Northern Kentucky. So Julie, I'm going to ask you to give us a quick update with where we are and with where you're looking at us here sitting in mid-November with Convention Visitors Bureau work.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. Thanks for letting us come on this morning. So definitely this pandemic has ravaged our industry. Our hotel community in Northern Kentucky has lost about $100 million of revenue year over year from 2019 to 2020. You know, that's hard. That equates to a lot of jobs. That's more than 26,000 people in our industry that are currently out of work. That I always say that there's a silver lining in this, and that is that it will get better. That as vaccines come to market and as this pandemic begins to wind down, we've already shown that this region contributes a huge economic impact to the state through tourism, through our CVG International Airport, all of our great attributes in the region, our linkages with the Cincy region, so we know we'll get back. But we do need to weather the storm right now. And of particular concern is we've got to do everything that we can to save this amazing culinary and bar talent and experiences that we have in this region, and that is something that we are very seriously focused on right now.
Excellent. You know, you're doing the best you can out of these tough situations. I'm going to jump to you, Shannon, if you don't mind, about, you know, you've got a perspective from the city, now on the board and as an entrepreneur locally. Let's talk about what that looks like as you go into this next week where there's we've got some shutdowns occurring with restaurants, bars, in terms of inside dining. And speak to that a little bit about what you're seeing and concern there.
For sure. And I'm very lucky to wear a lot of hats, and it gives me a unique perspective to share across all the arenas that I'm operating in. And as soon as the restrictions came down, I started to get messages from local businesses, and they were concerned. But the good news is in Covington, actually across the state, there are some incentives available. Our local government definitely hears the need, and we're doing whatever we can. We've arranged parking, we've offered incentives, put up signs, anything. And even our local government is reaching out to each business to talk about what we can do, which is something that I think is rare, and we're very lucky in Kentucky and Kenton County to have that opportunity. But aside from that, I know that we are lucky also to have someone like Julie that's kind of spearheading and getting marketing out, particularly for the bourbon industry, and that's crucial. So
that's a great segue. All three of you have been working on for years your awareness of what bourbon does for Kentucky and getting Northern Kentucky on the bourbon trail in different ways. Tony, I'm going to let you speak to that a bit as a local developer, and you've been watching this for some time. What does that look like here sitting in the middle of a pandemic in 2020?
Well, obviously the pandemic's been pretty hard on the entire restaurant and bar industry, but we do have a lot of good news of things that are coming and things that are already in place. I mean, Northern Kentucky, we have 8 of the best bourbon bars in the country right here in Northern Kentucky. 6 of them are in Covington. None of them are in Cincinnati. So that obviously tells you we're very serious about our bourbon tourism. We've been very lucky. We opened a bourbon bar a few years ago that's on the Beeline, the Globe. We've been very well received. It's just amazing the people that are so interested in bourbon and wanting to learn about bourbon. And it's just been, I think, a wonderful asset for Northern Kentucky. And I think we're really starting to pay the attention to it that it deserves.
That's well said. And I guess I'm going to jump back to you, Shannon, because you've got a unique opportunity that's opened up a number of months back, Revive with bourbon, and talk about that briefly and how it kind of is a similar model of what's going on in the urban core with bourbon.
Sure. So Revival, and for those of you that don't know, it's essentially a vintage bourbon library of sorts. So we have bourbon dating back to before Prohibition, late 1800s, to last year's bourbon that's extremely rare and you can't get it anywhere else. And it's been really cool to see the renaissance of Covington and old become new, and the same thing's happening with Revival. Those old bottles are becoming new. It's back in market, and the resurgence is happening. And that's why I kind of love the branding that's happening in Covington called Recov, because we always come back, and we will, and it's because of the local support that we have, and I'm super excited to see next steps. One of the coolest things that I ever heard Julie say is she talked about that I know it was Kentucky's edge, and Julie, you were talking about the fact that we are on the edge of bourbon country, but I also think we're on the edge of innovation, and we're doing really cool things that no one else is doing. And I can't speak to a lot of it because I'm an attorney representing a lot of these people doing really, really cool things. But I'm going to say it's coming, it's happening, and everyone in the region and then everyone interested in bourbon should be very, very excited.
That's great. Well, Julie, just yesterday, and kudos to all the great work you're already doing in your role, but just yesterday you sent out a notice and reminder to everyone about what we can do to help while this pandemic's going on, what we can do to help our local restaurants and bars. Speak to that a bit, if you will.
Yeah. We know that this is going to be a hard time for our bars and restaurants. We also know that we're going into probably what's going to be the most unique holiday season that we've all ever had. It's going to be a distanced holiday, but we can still stay very, very close to all these great Northern Kentucky experiences. So we've built a website. It's NKYShopLocal.com. And that is a listing of basically every unique experience in Northern Kentucky. And we're encouraging people to give the gift of Northern Kentucky this year for Christmas. Give those restaurant gift cards. Give a future aquarium visit, a future B&B visit. Give the Camparosa pizza. There's so many experiences on there. There's something for everyone. And we want to make sure that everyone is giving someone a Northern Kentucky gift this year. Again, it's NKYShopLocal.com, and you're going to be hearing a lot more about it. This is what we're focusing on. We are focusing on our local businesses in conjunction with our great partners at the Northern Kentucky Chamber.
And this is real, right? I mean, you've got people's lives, not only owners of businesses, but servers and cooks and everybody else who goes to support that. So if there was ever a time to do even more than we ever might have done, even if we might have just gone into a restaurant, make sure these are the times we ramp it up even more over this next number of weeks to the end of the year, especially.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Tony, let's talk about development for a second. You've invested a lot prior to this year and still doing it. Talk to about the development opportunities here in Covington that you see and how you look at the future.
Well, obviously, we see a lot happening in downtown Covington. We've worked with old buildings for about 20 some odd years. It is amazing to me what's happening downtown. I'm very happy. I've been working with Julie and Shannon and some other people. We're getting ready to open a new bourbon experience probably the second quarter of next year, hopefully after this COVID thing is over. We took an old factory building that was a pickle factory. That's what it was known as. It was also known as Wenzel Hall. Hence the name. It's going to be Wenzel Whiskey. We're very excited about creating a very unique bourbon blending experience where you'll be able to blend your own flavor of whiskey with some experts that will help you with that. One of the reasons we're able to do that is because some of the laws have changed, and that is giving us an opportunity where people can come into town, blend their own whiskey, and then it can be shipped to them. So that's something new that has happened, and that's obviously every time the laws are changed and improved, it creates business opportunities, and we're just trying to take advantage of some of those opportunities.
That's in the amount of square footage, the amount of renovation for Revival, more in the center of the city, all the way north It's exciting to see that. Let me go back to you, Shannon, for a moment. From the perspective of as an entrepreneur, and you see people coming in, what are some of the exciting opportunities you see? Why would someone want to invest in the urban core of Covington today and get on that team to help really see the opportunity?
For sure. And I'm glad you asked. And I think it has to go back to the fact that we are on the edge of bourbon country, and truly we are offering unique experiences. And I was joking with someone the other day that Madison Avenue here in Covington is kind of going to be like Bourbon Row as soon as everything's finished. You're going to have an experience down Madison Avenue within 2 miles that you can't have anywhere else in the world. And it's true. You can't. And it has made itself a destination, not just the entrepreneurs and the passion that we have, but the support from meetNKY, from our local city governments, from the chamber, and just the local engagement is incredible. And Covington in particular has a unique grit and passion that you just don't see anywhere else. And everyone is seeing that now, and they're trying to jump in, but we're picky.
I love it. That's a good way of putting it. Well, let's talk about some of the opportunities. Today you can, and one outlet of this pandemic is you can buy a drink and you can walk out of the facility. Some issues of entertainment districts, or the opportunity to buy a drink and not have to just stay indoors, and so you can take it away when you buy your carry-out meals, etc. What kind of things need to be done long-term, Julie, to make this even more impactful long-term?
Yeah, I definitely think the governor did some great work in issuing that executive order for takeout cocktails. That was a game changer in March. And now we need to do what could be some hard work, but some easy work if we get to it legislatively to make sure that continues and that becomes part of law. It's going to help out these bars and restaurants tremendously. We know that there's a long game. We've got to get started somewhere about modernizing shipping regulations for alcohol. This has been something I think Shannon and I could probably talk for a long, long time about the shipping of alcohol in this country, but we've got to get to the point, and I think that could be the future of what is a real gem in our spirits crown here in Northern Kentucky, with all of the expertise that we have in logistics and lift out of our CVG International Airport. It could be a real game changer, but it's got to start somewhere. And we've got to get a nucleus of people that are very, very passionate about making this happen legislatively. Great
point. And we'll, of course, be here to be educated and ask us to advocate for you down the road. As we wrap this up, guys, I'm going to ask a question of you, but before I ask the question, I'm going to just say thanks, because all three of you are not only amazingly smart and you're dedicated to this community, but you're also very humble about doing it for the right reasons. But let me end on this question. So if there was one thing over the next month or two you would want to tell every resident of Northern Kentucky if they could hear this message about the efforts that you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, what would that be? And I'm going to start with you, Julie.
My number one ask would be the same thing that we're doing with our families, is if you have a favorite restaurant, a favorite small shop, a favorite bar that's in your community and it's near you and you're passionate about it, make a commitment to support them for the next 90 days. This is going to be a crucial time period. The state's doing great work on creating a bailout fund. All of our mayors are leaning in with ABC waiving of license renewals. And that's huge, because right now, cash is going to be king for these guys to survive. So buy gift cards, do takeout, support them, and above all, know that they are working around the clock to try to keep their places open.
Great point. And if you're eating outside and you want to just put on another coat and go and sit on the sidewalk or whatever, right, and enjoy the meal at the facility or at the restaurant. Tony, what would you have to say?
Well, first of all, I do want to compliment the local government entities, even state of Kentucky, about how they've been helpful and really working with us. Especially, I've had to deal with the city of Covington, or working with the city of Covington, and they've been very responsive to restaurant and bar needs. So I want to thank them for that. Again, support the local local restaurants and that, but I do have to say I'm hugely disappointed with the federal government's response. They had at first they had a wonderful stimulus package that's helped us out, but this has gone on much longer than anybody expected. And just very disappointed from a federal level that there just hasn't been the second stimulus response that I think everybody is expecting and hoping for. So hopefully they will do something in this lame duck, but please support your local bars and restaurants. They're a great asset for this area.
Indeed. Shannon?
There we go. Sorry, I was on mute. I have to echo Julie and Tony, and that we need to support our local bars and restaurants. And easy ways to do that are gift cards, dining outside, mask up, and go singularly if you can, if you're able. I know not everyone is able, but if you are, just get out. And even if you know a restaurant owner, ask them what you can do, because it is different for everyone. And I just. Yeah, I mean, it is. It's different for everyone. So I would just suggest grab a gift card or just visit them and give them support, because right now I can tell you entrepreneurs are in the trenches and they're scared. So support them, give them encouragement, buy some things, and let them know you're behind them. And I can say, I know I support all restaurants across all regions, but I know particularly in Covington, we have made a really, really concerted effort to let our owners know that we're behind them and we're doing everything we can to support them. And we have an open door policy on it. So that's it. Support local.
Excellent. And of course, my heart's in Covington, my heart's in all of Kenton County. So all the restaurants in all of Kenton County, from north to south, east to west, bars, et cetera. So the problem is it doesn't help your waistline when you're trying to eat out and carry out every night, but that's a price I'm willing to pay. So I'm all in. Guys, thanks so much for the great work you're doing, and hopefully looking forward to great success with meetNKY, the developments you guys are part of, and great success to these entrepreneurs hopefully in the future as we get through this pandemic. But thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.